I'm Christine Mattis from the Mattis Law Group, and I am so excited today. As you know, we have Conversations from the Heart. It's a series where we love to share with others, organizations, and people who we feel are of value, who we feel are a great resource to our families. And whenever I come across someone I feel is important and special, well, it's always a priority to me to make sure that I put them out front and center to my families so that they know where they can find this type of resource. So today, I am so excited to share with you Kathy Dotoli. She is an attorney that I have known for years. And she is someone I know, I like, I trust, and I feel that she has such a gift to helping all of our families, especially those who have a disability, to get them the certain benefits that they deserve. So, Kathy, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being on our webinar. Thank you.
Oh gosh, Christine, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. And I really thank you so much for that introduction. You know, I have a practice. I feel like you and I share very much the same philosophy when it comes to helping our clients, but also really helping the community by providing them with really valuable information that I think can really help them. But they have to know what to ask. They have to know what resources are available. So I hope that we'll be able to tell some of your watchers and listeners a little bit more about that today.
Now, I know that you have such a long history in the legal community. I mean, you have a fantastic reputation and you have experience in many different areas of law. But today I was hoping you can explain more about a certain segment of law with Social Security disability and its certain subsets, explaining, what it is, how you help, and how certain types of clients can really find value meeting with you.
Okay. So one component of my practice is Social Security disability. I do workers' compensation also, and my practice actually expanded into Social Security about 10 or 12 years ago when I saw that it was just a natural springboard from my workers' compensation practice. Many people find themselves unable to continue to participate in the workforce. So we decided a while ago, over a decade ago, we were going to figure out how to help these people also obtain Social Security disability benefits. So over the years, I've kind of perfected that practice. And then as a springboard from that, I started helping families who had issues with their disabled children on occasion, and they needed to know more information about it. So we don't just wake up one day and say, this is what I'm going to do. You don't just graduate from law school and say, this is how it's going to be. I mean, at least it didn't work out for me that way anyway.
Same here.
Yeah. So I think today we're going to talk about children who are in need of disability benefits. And it is so important that families know about the benefits that are available through the Social Security Administration. I'd like to talk a little bit about the difference between Ssd and Ssi for a second.
Wonderful. Oh, yes. That is a common misconception and it's not easy to understand. So yes, fantastic, Kathy.
So Social Security disability is generally for mostly adults who have been in the workforce for a long time. They've acquired what we call quarters, which means time spent in the workforce, putting the money into the Social Security system. And sometimes it doesn't have to be a work-related injury. It could be a serious medical condition that prevents them from being able to work. Could have been as a result of an accident from at home. It could be as a result of a cancer, kidney disease, a musculoskeletal disorder. So that benefit is available for adults, generally speaking. The SSI benefits are also available for adults, but that's more of a needs-based program. For children, let's say the population under the age of 18, those individuals can make an application with the assistance of their parents And they may be entitled to a monetary benefit. It's not a lot of money. Okay. Let's face it, this is a government program, but the great benefit is you may be entitled to also medical benefits. And I think that's what these families need.
For sure.
So it's the medical and the monetary benefit that is so important.
I love that, because a lot of times what we found with families is that you're right. The monetary benefit may not be significant, but it is something. But I do feel, Kathy, it is a gateway to other programs,
Yes.
what they could get. But can you talk about, the process of these benefits, how to get them? And I do often hear that people need a lawyer to get them. And I'm just curious if you can explain why, because a lot of times I know clients try to do it on their own. And then at one point we hit a wall, and if you could probably shed some light, what are the issues? Like why an attorney is really useful?
Yeah. So I help people to manage their expectations when it comes to making an application. I give them the tools they need in order to either make the application initially on their own, or if they're really, if I sense that they just can't do it, perhaps due to a parent having their own disability, perhaps they have sight impairment, or they have difficulty using a computer due to cognitive issues or other issues. Sometimes we will help them do that. So let's go through the process because it is quite specific. First thing you need to do is file your application, and you can do that application online or by calling a 1-800 number with the Social Security Administration. I'd love to at this time give your listeners that telephone number.
Oh, wonderful.
Because they can start with that. That telephone number is 1-800-772-1213. Once again, 1-800-772-1213. You're not going to fill out the application with an administrator at that moment. They're going to schedule you for an appointment because this is more than a couple of minutes. You're looking at, a very significant amount of benefits if you were to qualify for them. So naturally, this application process is going to take about an hour, and you're going to have to do some preparation in advance. What's the preparation? You need to get all of the doctors' names and addresses together. That means their zip codes, their street addresses. Make the application go as streamlined as possible. You have that all of that information. All of that information is probably at your fingertips, but put it together. Have a list. Be prepared with all of your child's disabilities. If there is a neurological disorder, be prepared to list that. If there is any other type of issue, autism, be prepared to list that. And think about all the medications that child takes. Be prepared to convey that information. If you miss one or two, that's okay. You always have the ability to re-enter and build up that medical file. But how do you prove a disability? We do so with evidence, just like any other legal arena. We need to build it up. So it's not enough just for mom or dad or teacher or guidance counselor to say, this is what we observed, this is what's happening. We need the medical evidence. So before you even make that application, I would say make sure your child is in a very active medical program, has a medical plan, and sees a physician, if not more than one, 2, 3. Make sure that medical evidence is being generated.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I could see where this can be a little bit daunting for someone who has never done this before, and then they're asked all of this. So this is wonderful information, Kathy, what to be prepared for. My gosh.
What also is so nice is that you can also do it online. If an individual feels confident And I do feel that most of the people that we speak to do feel confident enough to do it online. You can get it started. You can go in and out of the program. So you don't have to get it all done. I usually tell people, just take a breath, make a pot of coffee or a cup of tea, sit down at your kitchen table with your laptop. Don't do it on your phone. It's a lot of information.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
So put the information together, prepare yourself at least an hour. If you get overwhelmed, that's okay. Exit. You get a little number. It allows you to re-enter the program in, I don't know, like you have like a month or so to re-enter. So you can do it in dribs and drabs. If you have to stop and get more information, that's okay. Stop, get the information, come back to it later in the day. So that's the initial application. Let me go back for 1 second. So it's initial application, reconsideration process, if denied at the initial app phase, and then administrative law judge request. And that's when you get before a live administrative law judge and you're able to give your testimony. Each level is a fresh review. Each level is a fresh review. So we don't want you to be discouraged if you've been denied at the initial application phase. A lot of times people are denied, Christine, at the initial application phase because they simply didn't have enough time to get all the medical evidence together. And at some point, Social Security's got to close it out. We can't keep that open for a year.
And they give you a reason, Kathy, why it was denied, so at least you can work on that, or is it just a vague like, denied? Sorry.
No, they don't. But they don't give you a reason, really. They'll say that we didn't find you to be qualified under our rules. But then they will list the doctor's records that they were able to obtain.
Okay.
And you can see right off the bat that most of the time they just don't have all of the records in time.
Okay.
So it's 3 to 5 months. That's their goal and that's their standard for an initial application decision.
Okay.
All right. So you've applied, you've been denied at initial application. You're discouraged, but I don't want you to be, because most people really do get denied at that phase. Don't worry. The next phase is reconsideration. And that's when you say, no, wait, I have more information. You didn't have my x-rays, or you didn't have the ophthalmologist report. I have more information to give you. Maybe a school didn't have time to get the information in on time. So that's when you say, no, please reconsider. This is the additional information I would like to submit. And these are the reasons why I stand by my initial application. I want this to proceed, this application. You only have 60 days, though. That's not hard to remember. You have 60 days from the initial application, because this is a trajectory. It's always moving forward, right? Okay. So the reconsideration process, I have found that varies a little bit more. While the initial application is 3 to 5 months, the reconsideration phase is maybe more like 6 to 9 months.
Wow.
So yeah. So during that period, what are you doing? You are continuing to treat with doctors, continuing, if this is for a child, you're continuing to talk to your school, guidance counselors, anyone who can support the application of a disability. After that period of time goes by, you'll get a decision. Hopefully it's positive, but most of the time at the recon level, again, it's no. How much time do you have? Once again, 60 days. Everything with Social Security seems to be like 60 days. So
easy to remember.
Yeah. So you have 60 days, and then you're going to file for the administrative law judge. Now, these are, once you file the initial application, these forms are not daunting anymore. The reconsideration is 1 page. The ALJ is 1 page. But your responsibility as a claimant continues, and that means continuing to treat, continuing to gather up the evidence. you asked me before, Christine, why hire an attorney to do this though? It is daunting. And I mean, we have a method here of we have a process, a system. I cannot guarantee the result on every file. We are very selective in the files that we do take. However, even when I vet them, review them, it doesn't mean that working with an attorney will definitely guarantee a positive result. I'll tell you what it will assist with is making sure all of that stuff is in the system, ready to go. A firm like mine, we do pre-hearing briefs, meaning we send the judge an advance memorandum regarding our position that is quite detailed. It goes over the medical component of the file, the limitations of the individual, what's happening in school, what's happening in the employment arena, what the background is, what the home life is. So we're giving the judge almost like well, it's not almost, it is an advanced view of what who this individual is.
I love that. I mean, I think what you're doing is you're painting the full picture of this individual, because I'm imagining, I've seen these applications and I could see where it could just be very mechanical. Here's the doctor's report, here's the medication, that's it, and some of the questions, well, how long did they go to school, high school, but you're painting the picture, you're giving a voice. And I think that goes a long way. That goes a long way, Kathy. And second, time, right? I mean, I'll be honest with you, for me as a mom of a disabled child, we don't have a lot of time. We're doing a lot of other things. And the last thing I'm imagining is sitting in front of a laptop and plugging this information in. I can't, you said like an hour. I was like, oh, I said, I'm like a mad, I'm like, and then what you're doing is additional is that would really calm my heart, to be quite honest. I'd be like, oh, you are on our side, and you're right. There's no guarantees, but you are putting the best foot forward that you can possibly do. I mean, I didn't realize all that I didn't know that was possible. And that's wonderful. That really, really.
And this is something that we've developed over time. This doesn't just happen. This is from years of attending hearings, walking into a hearing and me thinking, I'm not sure my judge really understands this individual. Because imagine the stack of medical records is like this, and now everything is digital. So I'm asking a judge to go through maybe 1,000 pieces of paper online, and I'm not the only case that day. My judge might have 6 or 7 other cases. How does my client stand out? And that's why I try to do a summarization. I try to make sure that my judge, that's why I do the home life too. I want my judge to know what kind of support my client is getting at home. And sometimes, like with children, I also ask the parent, it's not necessary, but I like to tell the judge what is the income going to be used for. And what we'll find out oftentimes, Christine, is that there's a tutor that they need. There's a special physical therapist that is out of their price range. And I think that impresses upon the judge that, like, oh, with these extra resources, this family and this child may get the boost they need for greater chances of success.
That's right. And that actually leads me to my next thought process here, is that when you're helping a disabled adult child, is there a difference, Kathy, how you approach it, or is it same method, but is there something maybe a little different that you add? I'm just curious, if anything changes with who you're dealing with.
Yeah, great question, because the standard for qualifying for disability is different for an adult versus a child. The standard for an adult is tougher. It's just tougher. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna give your listeners an opportunity to check for themselves at the Social Security website. You can look, it's called the listing of impairments. The listing of impairments, childhood listings, Part B. Now, Part A is for adults. Part A is also called listing of impairments, but that is for adults. Listing of impairments, childhood listings is Part B. And you will see all of the medical categories that that can determine whether or not your child or your student or your client even will qualify. So if I could just give you a couple. Low birth weight and failure to thrive, okay, is the first one. And then there's a listing of subcategories underneath that. The musculoskeletal disorders, special senses and speech. This sight requirement for children is a lower standard than it is for adults. Respiratory disorders, cardiovascular system disorders, digestive systems, skin disorders, neurological, mental disorders. And there are others. And I encourage anybody who's thinking about making this application to take a look. Because again, this is about also managing your expectations. You know, I want you to look under your category, and I encourage all of my clients to do it. Look under your category and make sure that your diagnostic studies are there. If your doctor, let's say we're talking about a spinal condition, and your doctor is not ordering an MRI or an EMG for you, I want you to see that you need that objective medical evidence. I'm not being, you know, a taskmaster or discouraging when I say, well, your evidence isn't here yet. I want you to be successful in your application. I want that for you. I want our clients to find success in these applications, but they need the tools. So that's another thing.
Knowing the foresight, because I think I also come across families where, you know, the disability, as they would say, is obvious. Why do we need all of these? But I think, like you're saying, no matter what, you need the documentation, you know, and I see that, and it's frustrating, you know, because it's the rules, right? And you can't get around that. And you're not putting that in your papers. It's obvious. There's no way, you know, but I do see that frustration when I mentioned that. I said, make sure I know, like, really, Chris? And I'm like, I'm just telling what I know, you know? So,
so to solve that issue, because oftentimes there's a parent or a teacher that says, oh, come on, you know, you can't you see from the medical records, or you've met my child, you can see, it's apparent. There's a form called the 795, the form 795. And again, this comes from like years of experience. It's a form that we kind of fell upon to fill this need, that very need of a family member being able to say what's going on here at home. And so the 795 form is the perfect form for a sister, grandmother, teacher, neighbor, babysitter, someone to say, I am this person's fill in the blank aunt. I am this person's aunt. I believe this individual is disabled because this is what I've observed. And you should read, I mean, some of the beautiful, sensitive, heartwarming things that people have said about their children, aunts, uncles, spouses. You know,
and I'm imagining these are the things that, again, that you come across, that you can see how it's, you know, it's sensitive topic, but it's useful, helpful, and you can present it in a really sensitive way and respectful way. You know, I never thought about that part.
They're so personal. They're so personal.
I have to say, that's, I think, a big challenge, right? Because as an advocate, as a mom, you always want to dwell on what they can do. But when we're doing these applications, like when I'm helping families for guardianship, we do have to focus on some of the deficits, and that's hard. And it's uncomfortable. I hate it, to be quite honest, but unfortunately, those are the rules to get to that goal. We want to
Yeah.
get the benefits. We want, so here's a question, Kathy. Has the pandemic changed expectations of benefits for adults, for kids? I'm just curious. Has it changed anything in your practice, the pandemic?
Well, Social Security Administration closed to the public for
Yeah.
hearings back in March, late March of 2020. And I can see why, because I can't even tell you how busy those offices are, because oftentimes they're not just for hearings, they're also for people getting their Social Security replacement cards, or they have business
Yeah,
with
you're
the
right. Never even thought about
administration.
that.
So,
Yeah.
and some of them are strictly hearing offices, but there's a lot of people.
Yes.
There's the claimant, there's the family members, the representatives, the attorneys, the staff, the security. So it was a good decision.
Yeah.
And within, I would say, a month or so, they very quickly pivoted to using Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
So it's Teams, they were doing telephone hearings. I'm not gonna tell you there weren't any hearings that were missed. We did have a few postponed, I would say. April, May, yeah. So there were a number, but they've done a pretty good job at this point. I think they're going to reopen fairly, depending what the new variant tells us. But I think they're going to reopen pretty soon. But I do everything electronically. I mean, I could be giving this talk with you right now and uploading documents to someone's file. They've made it. Yeah, they've really pushed
So
things
would you
ahead.
say are things, I would say, back to pre-pandemic, Kathy, or it's getting there? I was just curious how things have been moving along process wise.
Let me say this. There are some people that would definitely fare better meeting a judge in person. The person who has difficulty ambulating, that does not come across on paper. And as we're sitting here right now, you wouldn't be able to know if I walk with a cane or a limp, or if I struggle to get up and down from the seated position. So for those individuals, there is that option of waiting until such time as the pandemic subsides.
That would be better.
I don't know when that's going to be.
I know. I did see a notice that they're trying to do more in person, go to court, but I think it's going to, I don't know. I don't know. I think that's going to change again. Like you said, depending on the new variant. So we just have to be flexible with that. So Kathy, I can't believe how fantastic this was. You gave such great information. You really educated everyone, especially myself, and also gave them, confidence about, now I have an idea how the process works, because it is daunting. You hear, I gotta get benefits, I have to apply, and how, at least you gave some foundation about how it works. But the main thing is that it is very, very valuable to have someone like you on their side, especially if they've been denied, and you feel like you're hitting a wall. So Kathy, how can people reach you? Whatever information you'd like to share, we'd love to have it.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. So my office is located right here in Toms River. I'm close to the Ocean County Courthouse and the Ocean County Library. You can call me at 732-228-7534. Once again, that's 732-228-7534. I can give you, and I do this every day, every single day. I give people my impression as to how they can put forth the best application. And if that means I assist you with it, or you go ahead and do it on your own, or sometimes you wait until you can build up that medical file. I'm happy to assist. Like I said in the beginning, we're good little resources. This is where we are. call
Yeah.
us, ask a question. Maybe you need us now, maybe you need me in the future. But I'm happy to answer any questions at all at
Oh,
any time.
thank you. Thank you so much for your time and all the information you shared with us. It's wonderful, really, really great information. So I encourage everyone to please reach out to Kathy Dotoli. She is a wealth of information, especially with all of her experience. She's always able to find a resource, give you an answer, and at least just lead you in the right direction. Kathy, thank you. Thank you so much. And everyone, thank you again for tuning in. This was another wonderful series. This was just the best. Our series, Conversations from the Heart, Kathy Dotoli, our Social Security disability lawyer, but she also does workers' compensation. She is a fantastic resource. I encourage everyone to reach her. Kathy, thank you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christine. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.